So how did you end up in the small shops? I mean, you're somewhat of a business incubator.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a kiosk fair or component to it. It's it really combines a lot of things. So how did you stumble up on that idea? Because I know you got a rich history in retail and working through that. But how did you come up with it? Let's just talk about that.
I had noticed in the last, I've been in business since I was in my early 20s. I'm 57 tomorrow.
Yeah. Happy birthday tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And in the last 10 years, especially, people will come up to me and say, "Fred, how do I get into business? I want to be my own boss."
Sure.
And what I have to say is, what kind of business do you want to get in? If they say retail, what I have to say is, you probably shouldn't.
Right.
Because the landlord is not going to give you a fair deal unless you're a great negotiator. You don't have the experience to beat this kind of negotiation.
Right.
If you do get a good deal, you're signing a 5-year lease.
That's right.
They're going to make you personally guarantee it. If you don't happen to be one of the lucky 1% that succeeds right out of the gate,
right,
you're going to have to go bankrupt because that whole 5-year lease is going to go on to you. And you don't know how to hire and train employees. And you don't understand fit up and.
And retail is trending down in the traditional sense of what we used to know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
retail's changing.
So you got the winds kind of changing on you a little bit.
Well, the change is a positive to me.
Well, it can be. I mean, it creates opportunity.
Tons of opportunity. And right now is the best time for small retail, in my mind. But so I was mulling over that. How do I tell people something? How could I help out?
Sure.
Because there's a ton of people for whom a little side hustle that makes them a few $100s extra a week is a lifestyle changer.
Sure.
And then my dad's cousin, Johnny George, who recently passed away, has 20 of these, what he calls peddlers malls in Kentucky.
Okay. All right.
It's sort of like my small shops marketplace, but they're bigger. He takes 200,000 square foot former Kmart's, super Kmart's,
sure.
Just like the one we have over here on Wesleyan.
Right.
And he converts them into his peddler malls, sort of like small shops, but without the incubator, without the coaching and the mentoring that we do.
Right.
It's like a giant flea market, sort of. So I went to Kentucky and saw that, and I thought, I could take his concept and tweak it just a little, and make it a real opportunity.
Right.
So people could start to get their feet wet in business. People could start, because you learn by doing it in business.
You do, and I've been in retail, some investments, and I got to tell you, I really don't like it. But you're so right. It's really a contest between you and the landlord.
That's it.
I mean, your revenue is going to be your revenue, whenever it plateaus out to be, and you don't really know what that is until you've done it. But once you've done it, you can almost set your watch by the day in terms of the cycle and what's going to be a good day or a bad day relative to whatever barometer you're looking at. And either I make enough margin to pay the landlord or I don't. And then when you look at that, he's taking the lion's share of it. That's just the reality of it.
Yep, unless you negotiate a heck of a good deal off Jump Street.
Or you're a Belk, or it's probably a bad example now, or you're that anchor store that the landlord's willing to just do anything for to create that customer count.
That's right.
That's a whole different ballgame, though. I mean, and you're not in that space, so.
Not generally.
Not generally. Right.
Although my argument with landlords with the small shops would be that we are.
Well, I think you are now. I'm just saying just a generic trying to get into retail, buying up.
Your first time in retail, they're going to demand you pay the asking price, which you and I know, the asking price on retail space, on any commercial space, isn't what you should be paying.
That's right.
You're going to personally guarantee it. If you don't have a great real estate lawyer, they're going to give you a lease that only a first-timer would sign.
That's right.
And you're going to sign it.
That's right.
And there's going to be stuff in there you should have never agreed to.
That's right.
But once you sign the lease, the landlord's not interested in fairness. I'm not talking bad about real estate investors.
No.
It's
just
the way
taking a risk too, right?
Oh,
so
sure.
It's not like he's,
Sure, but you're not going to get any fit-up allowance.
Right.
You're not going to get the best rent deal.
Right.
You're not going to get forgiveness.
Right.
And unless you have a lot of experience or you're really lucky or really, really, really good, there's a good chance you fail. If you fail at Small Shops Marketplace, our business incubator, what you've lost is $3 to $6 a day for a month. Your total loss is going to be $200 maybe. You lost a Starbucks coffee.
Well, so how does that work? Do you, do I have to commit to a space within the small shops for extended periods of time? What does a typical lease look like?
Month to month. There are no leases.
Everything's month to month.
We took our cue from the old mall temporary leasing where they give you the cart spaces.
Right.
It's not a lease, it's a licensing agreement. We license you to inhabit 80 square feet.
Okay.
At the end of any month, you can say, yeah. And we can do the same.
Right.
If your merchandising standards aren't good, if there's a lot of reasons we can't ask you to leave. It hasn't happened much. And if you're not making money or you're not happy, you can just leave. So the total risk is that 1 month's worth of rent.
Right.
So if you come in and you sell $0 worth of stuff, what you're out is about what it costs you to get a decent latte at Lorema
Got it.
every day.
Got it.
So you lost a cup of coffee a day.
Or a storage unit at whatever, your favorite storage shed. Whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Whereas if you sign a lease with any commercial real estate company,
Right.
it's going to have to be 5 years to get a decent rent deal, most cases.
Right.
If you fail in business there, if you don't make any money, you're filing bankruptcy. You won't be buying a car or a house for 7 years.
That's right.
They're going to come after you for every penny.
That's right.
And
you probably even got an SBA loan, and while they're easy to get into, they have the same exacting standards as any other bank in the world.
Nothing's easy to get out of.
That's exactly right.
And so you've got the SBA loan to pay back. You've got a bunch of inventory you can't get rid of.
That's right.
And you've got even a little cheap $2,500 a month lease.
Right.
That's what, $30,000 a year times 5 years.
It's not. So you got to make an average gross profit of 40%. You got to sell about $5,000 to $6,000 worth of merchandise just to cover the rent.
And if you don't, you owe $30,000 to that landlord for every year you didn't stay.
Well, we haven't paid for utilities yet, so we still got electricity. We still have a CAM here, a common area maintenance component.
I'm just talking what you owe after you close. You shut down after a year. You got 4 years at $30,000 a year. The landlord says, "Well, here's a bill. I need 120 grand."
That's right.
And you go, "Well, I don't have it." And he goes, "Well, then interest accrues at 6% per annum."
And you go to somebody and say, "Look, I need Chapter 11, or I need to get 13. I need to be out of here. I can't stay."
You're filing for personal bankruptcy. It's your only choice.
That's right.
And you won't be buying a house or a car
for a long time. Not a new one.
Good little while.
Not a new one.
No, you might be getting one from your cousin.
That's right.
Who might take payments from you.
Sure.
But it's a life-changing event. So it's
so
no
you
wonder.
Figured out this. So I mean, you've seen a lot of bodies on the street.
Oh yeah.
As a result of this, and so you saw your uncle's peddler stuff, and then you combined the two.
Yeah, and made a concept that I think's working, and we're still tweaking it.
Of course.
Everything's being tweaked. We just dropped our rent by 25% because we want to make it more affordable for people, and my labor is not as high as I thought it would be, so we're able to do that.
Okay.
And we also see Small Shops Marketplace as a community space where we could do fundraisers, we can do things like that mask giveaway that you participated in with us.
That's right. Don't forget the after-school program during, folks look for hot spots for kids. I mean, you at least opened up for that. There's just lots of stuff. So that's about customer count. All that's about getting folks to walk through.
That's right.
It's also about creating a space, live, work, play.
That's it. And we're in a position, I'm not really a big deal.
Right.
And none of the people renting space from me are a big deal.
Right.
But you take me and my business experience and reputation, and then another 60 or 40 or 110 people who are renting space there. All of us together aren't a small deal.
That's right.
And so we've got enough presence in the community that we're in a position to do some bigger things than I could do with a little retail store.
Right.
So it puts us in a little better position.
So talk about that entrepreneurial assistance program that you're talking about. How do you really teach folks? I mean, how does that conversation start? Hey, Fred, I want to get into a business, just like that.
That's a great question. In the beginning, what I envisioned is I would impart my great wisdom and knowledge gained over 30-something years of business to all these people because I'm so great. But I'm only great at a few things in business.
I understand.
Business is a huge category. I'm really good at 2 or 3 small areas of business, which is enough. And what I found that I didn't know, that I don't think enough people know, is that in North Carolina, and in Rocky Mount in particular, we've got so many resources that are better than me. So I give whatever coaching I can give on product mix and location and merchandising and display, and I offer my help. But between Tierra Norwood over at Nash Community College, and some of the classes they have, Gina Messernode over at Wesleyan and some of the stuff they do, Edgecombe, and they do a great job as well. And some of the stuff you see over at Station Square, there's so many business resources here, people who are experts in specific areas that I'm not. That a lot of what we do now is promote those to our people because I'm successful in business, but I'm not as good in any of these specific areas as these experts. And I've worked some with Nash Community College in particular. I did some of the Launch Rocky Mount. I did some mentoring last time around. I'm doing some more this time around. I've taught some of the classes there. Spring, I'm going to get to do I'm calling it an entrepreneurial boot camp that we're doing through Nash County Community College. Tierra's working with me on it, and I want to be able to just get one-on-one with some would-be entrepreneurs and teach them some things, but give them some hard truths. I mean, the truth of the matter is you can say you want to go into business, But my next question for you is, how much time the last week did you put into getting this business off the ground? Not thinking, but working.
Right.
And the answer in most cases is somewhat less than an hour.
Right.
And you're not going to ever achieve it.
Well, we all know the reality is you're married to that business.
Oh, yeah.
It's a real part of your life. It is nice to be in charge, but the truth is you're not really in charge. You owe somebody, the bank. There's somebody out there pulling your strings. And so you're just part of another cog in the wheel.
That's right.
Admittedly, it's a better place than some other pieces on the cog, but it's still without a tremendous amount of risk, and you're thinking about that thing constantly.
You have to be.
Absolutely.
That's one of the things I want to teach people is when you're driving in your car from point A to point B,
right,
and the radio's on, you need to be thinking about some kind of business concept.
Sure.
How can I improve my existing business? What's this opportunity here?
Right.
There's a ton to it. And yeah, being an entrepreneur is rewarding, and I love it. I love the lifestyle. I love living by my wits.
Sure.
I love being able to think of a business idea and make it happen the next day. But absolutely, especially in the beginning, an entrepreneur is a man or a woman who will work 80 hours for himself to avoid the inconvenience of working 40 hours for somebody else.
And sometimes make a lot less.
Oh, yeah.
At least initially, because you're having to put that seed money into it.
The work-life balance thing isn't a thing for new entrepreneurs. You can get there. I'm there now. I spend some time at the gym. I spend time with my kids.
Sure.
I've worked for decades to get to that point.
Right.
But every time I started a new business, I lived in it.
Right.
Days off aren't a thing in the beginning.
No, I understand exactly what you're saying. So we've had this pandemic. So have you had to evolve the concept, or have you during the pandemic? Obviously, things are changing, and there are the wins we talked about a little bit. So what are you seeing the trends being, and how did you adapt or are adapting for the pandemic? And I'm ready to call it almost done.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I think we've got a little bit longer than anybody wants to admit, but certainly within 6 to 12 months, I think we can get to a place of new normalization. So we'll see what that looks like. But anyway.
Hope you're right.
I'm praying and keeping my fingers crossed. So, hoping to convert it into reality.
There you go. I'm on your team on this one. But as far as changes, I'm not a person who's, my inclination is not to retreat generally.
Sure.
So we were fortunate in that, according to the governor's decrees, all my businesses were always considered essential.
Right.
We never had to shut down, which was good. And what we chose to do was to take that opportunity and to try to provide some more essential things than we normally would. So we spent a fortune getting in masks, and we're the first people in any of the towns we have locations in to have masks and make them available. They were more expensive to get then.
Well, I understand.
But we got a bunch of those in.
But they were also scarce.
They were
the toilet paper, if I recall, was very expensive during that period of time as well.
Yeah, I never got toilet paper in. I got offers for it, but I'm like, I'm not buying a truckload of toilet paper.
Sending the wrong message here.
Yeah, we weren't big on it. So we did more cleaning and more sanitizing. We of course require all of our employees to wear masks, which is a governor's decree. You have to do that, and encourage our customers to follow those decrees as well. But the main thing we did was just try to get a bunch of masks to make them available, to sell them, to give them away.
Right.
Hand sanitizer, though we had less luck getting in much hand sanitizer.
Right.
I had to pay way too much to get it in. We didn't do very well with that one. Got in gloves, and that was a huge thing for a little while.
Right.
So rather than retreat or pull back much, we just tried to take whatever resources we had and rush into the gap, so to speak.
Got it.
And that worked out mostly well. We had one big order of masks that we ordered and paid for them, and when they arrived, there weren't nearly as many as there were supposed to be, and we're in the midst of litigation on that one.
Good luck on that.
No, it is what it is. It's,
I know.
But we're, and we feel like we're a good corporate citizen during that time frame.
No question about it. So look, I mean, you're set up primarily for retail, but I think last time I was in there, I saw there was a repair shop in there. Did I see that?
Oh yeah, David, our computer repair guy.
So, it's not just, it's not just retail.
No.
I mean, he's selling something too, right? He's selling service. Are there any other folks? I mean, so the incubator is taking on a different kind of life. So what other unique things are you seeing?
Well, we're mostly retail right now, but what we're talking about doing now, one of the things, and everybody tells me it's harder than it looks.
I'm sure.
But I want to form a nonprofit and move Small Shops Marketplace into the nonprofit space.
Okay.
Which I think will let us expand more quickly.
Okay.
Because I'd like to have these all over the area, all over North Carolina.
Right.
Not anymore. One's enough for Rocky Mount.
No, I
and
understand.
one for Greensboro,
Sure,
and one for
sure.
Fayetteville. But
Whatever market you determine. I got you.
yeah. We're just looking for retail space that we can get for a price that works for us.
Right.
And move on. But the plans we're working on now for that would include doing some extra fit up in the back to have space for a barbershop, a salon, a massage therapist.
Gotcha, sure.
Those sorts of things that need some extra plumbing.
Sure.
And if we get a big enough spot, like say the former Super Kmart's,
right.
If we got a big enough spot to then open an shared office incubator space as well, so that insurance agents and marketing people and whoever who needs an office but doesn't need to rent a whole space
almost
for
a
24
Walmart
hours.
concept where they've got all these independent folks renting out the front end of the stores or the back end, taking advantage of the customer count that's just flowing through there.
That's right.
And not having to pay, well, I'm sure that I have no idea what they're paying, but in your case, at least, again, it stays with that incubator concept, keeps it affordable, reasonable, and gives folks an opportunity to kind of get going.
Yeah.
So what's kind of the biggest success story of any of the folks who've started up in your small shops? Do you have one in particular that you just love to tell?
We got 3 or 4 probably.
Well, that's fine. I got time for 3 or 4.
One of my favorites is our bookstore because I love books.
Sure.
And in the modern environment, bookstores don't do well.
Right.
So you got Books A Million in town, which is a fine corporation, and they get new books, and they're beautiful.
That's right.
And that's it. As far as independent bookstores, there may be others in town, but I'm not aware of them.
Right.
Justin Nail, who's a minister, and he's got a big family, and they're readers.
Okay.
And he collects books.
Okay.
And as a family project, they were selling some online, eBay and Amazon, and making a little extra money. When we first opened, they decided that they would just take an old bookcase they had laying at home, or 2 old bookcases, nothing special, and just put some books in the store to see how it would do. Maybe a small additional income in addition to their online income.
Well, if nothing else, they're feeding their habit, right? So I'm reading the book. I decide I don't want it anymore, so I'm selling it. I defer my expense.
Yeah, and they collect them, and if you want to talk literature with Justin, he'll keep up with it.
It sounds like I don't need to go there.
But they did well enough that I came in 3 or 4 weeks later, and they're putting new bookcases in there in their space. They're like, "Oh, cool, y'all doing well? Yeah, we really are. We're making more money here than our online sales."
Wow.
Because I think our concept, you can compete with Amazon. I think we can. I think we're better than Amazon for a lot of things as a small business.
Right.
Not as a customer, maybe as a customer too, but mostly as a business wanting to sell someplace.
Well, you start talking about Amazon, they take a pretty big chunk.
They do.
And I don't think folks really fully appreciate that. And when you go there, I don't know that folks really realize it's just a huge consignment website.
That's basically it.
I mean, there's some stuff that they're selling, but it's mostly consignment. So that's really what you're doing.
That's it. Absolutely.
Except you're requiring everybody to maintain their own store. In that case, Amazon is too. But anyway, so they get to keep more. And books in particular, too, for me, I like to look at them and touch them and feel them. It's different than, literally, you're having to judge the cover of the book and decide if you want to buy it on Amazon online, for me. And I want to flip through it. So is this really answering the questions that I have that I'm doing research on? And a lot of books don't.
Absolutely true.
A lot of books
flipping through it. They say don't judge it by its cover, but it's tough.
But that's what you're forced to do now.
Oh, the cover and the reviews, that's all you got.
That's it.
He's expanded 3 times. He now has in the front of our store, probably a fourth of the front space is his.
Sure.
I believe, last I heard, they make way more money with us than they do with Amazon. They get better money on Amazon. The retail's higher.
Right.
So you can, as a customer, save money. You can get a book that might be $50 if you bought it from him on Amazon for $30.
Sure.
He's got leather-bound collector's books, signed first editions.
Oh, wow.
Unbelievable stuff.
Oh, wow.
That's a huge one for me. I love it. Him and his family are great people, and it's been really gratifying to see them. He wasn't a true believer. He started out with a couple bookcases he had laying around at home in dead stock.
Sure.
And now they've been there since the beginning, have done great. Our computer repair guy, David, also single dad.
Yeah.
Has 2 wonderful kids, and he couldn't get a job that would work around his ability to take care of his kids.
Right.
And so he came in the back, and quite frankly, I didn't think it'd work. My feeling was that's going to be a tough sell to get people to bring their computers in for repair.
Right.
And he's been there since the beginning, does well every month, has enabled him to just got a new house.
So I'm just curious. I mean, is he just taking computers there at the shops and then take it home and repair it as he has time, or
he's got a repair space right there in the back room.
So he's doing it right then and there. The kids, I guess, come in and sometimes when he can be there, he's there working.
That's right. He's got one employee.
Yep.
Haley, who comes over from Wilson to help him.
Got it.
I know her and her family. She's great people. He repairs them. He'll do computer builds. If you want a gaming rig, I don't know what a gaming rig is, but I know they're expensive.
Yeah.
He can do all that stuff.
Okay.
And he's done great.
Okay.
And he's been there since the beginning. And I wasn't a believer in that one. I didn't think it would work. And my only real complaint about David is he's too inexpensive. I keep telling him, raise your prices.
Right.
Because if you take your computer to get repaired, anywhere that I know of, you're going to pay a bench fee. Well, I'll diagnose it, but I need $30 for my time and diagnose it. David does it for free.
Oh, wow.
I would not do it for free.
Right. Well, you know what? It's working for him. So.
Oh, he's making money. It's great.
There you go. That's maybe his shtick. I don't know.
And David has talked about moving into his own space.
Okay.
And, an actual shopping center space in the next couple of years.
Right.
Would love to help him do that. That's my commitment to our people is if they get to that point.
Well, that's the whole point, right?
Yeah. And I've negotiated, 70, 80 commercial leases in my lifetime.
Right.
I'm competent at that particular thing. I would love to help some of my people move, leave the incubator.
Right.
Fly out of the nest and
go out on the whole idea. They built it, low risk, but you can make some mistakes and it doesn't cost you chapter bankruptcy, right? So that's a big deal.
You had a small investment.
That's right.
Very few employee issues. Now, he's got an employee.
So you got the proof of concept. So now it works. Now I got to figure out how to scale it. Can I scale it to a size sufficient to go do my own store?
That's it. And you're in a position to pocket some money to do all those things.
Right.
Because he's turning a profit every month. He's living on it.
Right.
But if he's socking away a few $100s a week.
No, you're preaching the
he gets the startup money.
That's right.
Because if you borrow money, you got to pay it back.
And with interest. It costs you more to borrow it than it does to pay it out.
And angel investors are no exception. They want something for their money. Nobody gives money away for free.
It all costs us money to get money.
Absolutely.
Whether we call that time, however we call it, whatever we exchange for it, it still costs something to obtain it.
Absolutely. If you can self-finance, that's, to me, always the best. Now, there's times to leverage.
Well, if you can self-finance, it gives you more time, longer runway, a lot less stress.
If you can't make money when you owe nobody money, then the business concept is no good.
Just need to quit or retool.
If you're paying $20,000 a month in interest, there's a reason you're going to fail.
Right.
But if you don't have that,
you
should be able to make it work.
So, the success stories you want to tell about? Because, I mean, these are fantastic and exactly what the mission of your company and what you're trying to achieve.
Oh, absolutely. We've got so many.
Yeah.
In the back, we've got Shantae's Corner.
Right.
Which is women's fashion.
Okay.
I'm a believer in the front.
Right.
Be in the front, be on the right. So people see you quickly.
Well, that's what conventional wisdom would tell you. You walk in a store, most people being right-handed are going to make a right turn.
She came in, she wanted the back right, all the way back by the bathrooms. Good size, big space.
Okay.
The women's clothing. I tried to talk her out of it.
Right, I'm sure.
And she said, no, my customers don't want to be in the back where they have a little privacy. I tried to pull her towards the front again. No, she wasn't interested in it. She got a space bigger than I thought she needed.
Okay.
She spent a lot of time merchandising it, making it beautiful.
Okay.
I felt kind of bad. I'm like, I'm not sure this is a good
chicken
bet.
before the egg, and
She kills it.
Really?
Her fashion sense and her sourcing are so good. She kills it. She's 12 months a year profitable.
Fantastic.
She comes in a couple times a month a couple times a week, sometimes to redo everything.
Sure.
Gets in new lines. She's got she does catering. She's got like 6 different businesses she does.
Wow. So what do we need to do to sell the city? Because it's not a whole lot different than what you've been doing in a lot of ways.
I love Rocky Mountain.
I do too.
I remember I've got this
Yeah.
I Love Rocky Mountain t-shirt.
Absolutely.
We Love Rocky Mountain t-shirt for you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
We have those at small shops.
There you go.
I love the town. I think we just need to get people here.
Right.
I think once people are in here, and we have challenges. Every community has
Everybody
challenges.
does. I mean, we're not unique.
Our crime rate is a concern for people.
Right.
Although I think that's getting better. Getting a little more success stories from our schools, and this year's been a nightmare for everybody on that one. But I think if you get people into town to see, there's so much going on here.
Right.
Station Square and what Ben Braddock does there is beautiful.
Sure.
You've got Rocky Mount Mills. What a great destination that is.
Right.
You've got a lot of great businesses all over the area.
Right.
Small shops, I think, is a, we're trying to do our part.
Right.
But you've got some great restaurants, some great places, really nice people. It's just getting them in here the first time to see it.
Right.
And I don't know the secret to that. I'm not, that's not something I spend a lot of time thinking about, but if we could have events to get people to drive in and look around and experience Rocky Mount, because I think once you're here, it's a great town.
Well, you don't spend a lot of time, but it impacts you, it impacts all of us. And so that's really, we need everybody thinking along those lines. What we need to do to better the city and get folks to come in and try it out. And I think you're right. We do have a lot of things that are really cool, that really do make it a great community. And I think not the least of which are our people.
Absolutely.
Now, we do make headlines, but our crime rate, I can tell you, is no different in any other city in the country. I mean, we've got challenges, but I promise you, we do not fall so far outside the scale that we don't really register as other communities do. But that's not who we are. Who we are the folks that manifest and who exhibit, who live and die, who do things, who take chances, like starting a small shop.
I agree 100%. The people of Rocky Mount are great. But if you see a story about Rocky Mount on WRAL,
right,
it's not likely to be about anything good.
Right.
The Raleigh news, and I guess the national news to a degree, if they notice this at all, don't notice any of the 1,000 good things about the town usually. It's the this bad thing happened, and I think getting past that, I don't know how to do it.
Well, maybe we just need to start highlighting some of the things we're doing. We did get some great coverage with the Unity Cemetery thing, cleanup. It was a great community event, and I thought it was beautiful in a lot of ways. And folks just kind of said, you know what, this just needs to be done. And 200 plus people were out there doing their thing, and I think that was pretty awesome.
That whole time frame was a point of pride for me. We had a protest that was peaceful.
That's right. No,
and
respectful. Absolutely.
I've got stores in Fayetteville. Fayetteville didn't turn out that way. Raleigh didn't turn out that way.
Right.
The people of Rocky Mount were able to express themselves and their concerns in a completely positive way.
Right.
And I was as proud as I could be of that.
And I think it's about how we talk about ourselves too.
That's right.
Yeah. Look, man, I want to thank you for coming on. I really enjoyed talking to you. I always get a chance to talk to you, and I enjoy every piece of it. Thank you for the T-shirt. I will wear it proudly.
Thank you very much,
Maybe not
Mayor
as balled
Sandy.
up as you, but I'll work on that. Hi, this is Mayor Sandy Roberson. I'd like to take a moment to thank the sponsors of the Mayor's Brief: Tharrington's Auto Works and Collision Center, Rocky Mount Radiator, and Davenport Auto Park. I am grateful to each of them for their support of this program.